Saturday Social is powered by FIFA 22 with PlayStation.
Right, big week, of course. Antonio Conte confirmed as manager of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Abby, what we're going to do here, we've got, as you can see, the Saturday Social props board, which has served us so well this season, is back. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at how Antonio Conte can succeed at Tottenham. Yeah. So we're going to ask you to pick what you believe to be Spurs' strongest 11, and of course the formation, because we know that Conte has changed the formation. So the formation you'd pick, the players you'd pick, which ones you'd sell and which ones you'd keep. So there's a lot of work for you to do. A lot of
how come she gets to do it? Can't I, like...
Now, Sharky,
as an Arsenal fan, you'll ruin it, mate. You'll ruin it.
You are going to be involved in this. We want you to be as honest. We encourage debate, Tottenham and Arsenal. But before we ask you to place our magnets on the board, just your thoughts on Conte as an appointment. Obviously, you know, huge appointment for Tottenham. Most Spurs fans seem to be buzzing. Are you one of those Tottenham fans that are very excited?
It couldn't have been any worse than it's been of late, is it? It's amazing how you can appoint a manager in Nuno who was worse than the one before in Jose and play even worse football. I mean, you know just as well as I do how painful it's been, the last kind of like 3-4 years going to Spurs since that decline. I think
nice stadium though.
Lovely stadium, lovely training ground, but you don't win trophies for that, unfortunately. I keep telling people this. Look, I'm really happy about it. I can't actually quite believe we've managed to convince him to come.
I don't think anybody can.
I think it's something to do with that 20 million in 18 months, something to do with that as to maybe why he's come. But I'm really happy with it. I'm happy we lost last weekend now because I didn't expect the sacking, I have to say.
Did you not?
I really didn't. I thought that they'd like hold tight on it. I think maybe if we would have got a draw or something.
In the stadium though, during that game, like it felt like
Lucas Moura has done some wonderful things, Amsterdam being one and Antonio Conte being the second. So I think that we can take our hats off and thank him for that. But I'm looking forward to it. He's an incredible manager. Yeah. You know exactly what you're going to get with him. He's a no-nonsense type of guy. Yeah. He should really transform the mentality, not just of the players, but this club, which is what we need at Spurs from the top down. If Daniel Levy is promising some type of war chest, we've heard that many times, but it needs to be a sufficient war chest. It needs to be Premier League proven. Conte signings, not people from the back end of this and that league.
So when you say Conte signings, do you mean like Victor Moses, Ashley Young?
No, I mean players that he wants, that he entrusts to instill the type of... That's exciting.
Sharky's on the wind-up.
Sharky's got the digs ready.
He's just scared. He's just scared. I just think he needs to bring in players that he knows that he can trust to instill the way he wants to play at Spurs. And we know that fullbacks are going to play such a big role in that system. Yeah. He's got, we've seen it, like we said, Ashley Young, Hakimi, Victor Moses, Marcus Alonso, and what an impact that they have.
Wing-backs.
And the wing-backs. And I think that is just, it's going to be such a big part of it. So I think that give him the keys to the kingdom for the 18 months that he's there. He's got one massive window, which is the summer, because what can you really do in January? There's always constraints on that window. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. It could hopefully, all go wrong if Daniel Levy again wants to be the main man in charge. But I'm hopeful. I'm giving it one last chance with Daniel Levy and Enoch.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, let's get into the system. Let's not mess around any longer.
Right.
You go in for presumably the three at the back system.
Yes, we're going in the new 3-5-2 system. So hang on, let's
start with your goalkeeper then. Let's go position by position. So let's start with the goalkeeper. And this is an obvious choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is an obvious choice.
This is
I mean, no other real talking points around the Tottenham goalkeeper situation. Captain of the club. Yeah. Stick with him, wouldn't sign a new goalkeeper under Antonio Conte or anything like that? You stick with him?
Not at the moment. I think that we've got bigger fish to fry in terms of signings we need to make.
I would agree.
Agree with that.
Right, we'll go with the back.
So should we go straight to the centre-backs then?
Yeah, you're going to have to pack these in. There's not a lot of room, so you're going to have to really squeeze these together, I reckon.
Squeeze them together.
No budget spared here,
All the budget went to Romero.
Might have to move Hugo Lloris up a little bit to get them all in.
There's a mic, I think, dangling.
You're doing all right. Okay, so
just to confirm, you're going with Christian Romero, Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez. Christian Romero, let's got to talk about him. Serie A Defender of the Year. You've got to read the reports of Lionel Messi. He plays with him for international level that sings his praises. He's been a big signing for Spurs, hasn't he? And for me, looks like such an important player for Tottenham when you think of the other calibre of defenders we have. I mean, he got sent off midweek. We were both at the game.
What was going on there?
Yeah. But you saw the difference that it makes when he doesn't play, because the two centre-backs we had alongside him, Eric Dyer and Ben Davies, and when he wasn't there, I don't know if you agree, but we really felt his presence you missed his presence when he's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's so pivotal for an Antonio Conte system, isn't he?
Well, firstly, he's a good centre-back, first and foremost. He knows what he's doing. Whereas, no disrespect to someone like Eric Dyer, but in my opinion, Eric Dyer isn't a centre-back. I think he was much better when he was in that midfield role under Pochettino, if you'd agree with me.
Yeah.
So obviously, when you've got him as one of your centre-halves, I think that you might already be at a disadvantage in that. But he brings that leadership as well. He had a great season last year, as you mentioned, with Atalanta. And he's also passionate. And I think that's what's been massively missing from Spurs. A leader, someone at the back. And he did get sent off the other day, but...
He's definitely passionate.
It was a mad night.
Yeah, but do you know, I like the setup of the back line, but, Jaffet Tanganga, who I'm sure, who isn't, you might want to see talk about, but for me, Jaffet Tanganga would work really well in a back three.
Because of his versatility, because he plays a fullback.
Exactly, and also I think he's kind of a hybrid between a fullback and a centre-back, isn't he? A little bit like Tomiyasu at Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean,
on the right of a back three.
With someone like Tomiyasu. I think you guys wanted him, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we wanted him.
That's a shame.
We wanted Tomiyasu.
That's a shame, Sharky, is it?
That's a shame, yeah. I mean, we're loving him, so I'm glad he came to us. But on to Spurs, I agree with Joe, actually. I think I'll play Tanganga in the right centre-back role and then put Romero in the middle.
And Davinson Sanchez, I have to say, I think he's been a bit hit and miss under a couple Tottenham managers now. I think he needs to redeem himself quickly under Conte. This is surely a last chance saloon for a Davinson Sanchez now, because he, under Jose, was a bit hit and miss. Under Nuno, the same. He's got to hit the ground running under Antonio Conte, who's notoriously one of the best and most demanding defensive coaches in world football.
Also, he didn't start, did he, Davinson Sanchez,
No.
in the first game, of which he used three centre-backs, because he used Ben Davies in there alongside Dyer and Romero, so I thought that was quite interesting. The other player I was going to talk about is Joe Rodon, who you've not played. Now, he hasn't been given loads of game time. When you watch him play for Wales, he always performs, and Wales often play with a back three as well, so he's used to that system. So is he a player you think doesn't quite get in for you, but is a player you think might get more game time under Conte?
I like Joe Rodon. I haven't seen anything to make him, not be as good as any of the others that we've got there. Probably Romero aside. I don't think there's anything.
You think he's top 4 calibre?
I don't know. I genuinely don't feel like we've seen enough of him to be able to tell you. But like we said, he plays for Wales. He plays well for Wales. So I know it's different when you're playing week in, week out. But I genuinely haven't seen enough of him at Spurs, to determine whether or not he'd be a good fit for us, to play long term. But every time he has featured, last season under Jose, I didn't have a problem with him.
No.
And I think he was only in for maybe 3-4 games, and then we didn't see him again until the Conference League this year. So I'd be interested to see how well he does. I do agree with you on Jaffet Tanganga. I'm a really, really big fan of him. I think they just prefer him as a fullback now, and I don't really know why, because I always.
But he's surely not going to be a wing back, is he?
No, I didn't think so either. I love his aggression. I love the fact that he reminds me of a Ledley King. So I thought as soon as he kind of came through the ranks, I thought great, we've got the new Ledley.
Yeah.
And there's still obviously time for that, and he could very much well come into this back three. But I'm basing it on what. I think Conte's going to go with imminently. And I think with Davinson Sanchez, we forget, because he does make mistakes and he is quite clumsy in that sense. His first season when he played next to Jan Vertonghen, he was fantastic that season. So for me, if he's got someone like Romero in that leading next to him, his biggest problem comes when he has time to think. So if he's in a calm back three, where he doesn't have time to, dilly-dally on the ball and he's just got to make his decisions, he's actually okay in those situations.
OK, so there you're back three.
Let's move on to the wing-backs then, because we spoke about these being important.
Oh, look at you rubbing your hands.
And we're going for Emerson Royale as right wing-back, I believe. And then left wing-back, Sergi Reguilon. Now, these feel like obvious picks, but in the first game in the Europa Conference League, sorry, I forget you all the way down, he went with Ben Davies as a left-sided centre-back as well. So could we see a bit of Ben Davies as a wing-back potentially, or is this just a set two, you think, nailed on?
I think this is, I think this is very easy. I don't know about you, but I think as a Spurs fan looking at this seems to be a particular area that's going to be so key for Antonio Conte. We saw him using Victor Moses and Alonso for Chelsea with such effect. Remember, Chelsea lost that game to Arsenal 3-0, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
Changed their whole system, ended up winning the league.
No, you're welcome.
And they utilised utilised the wing back so well. And I look at that as a Spurs fan and go, actually, Royale and Reguilon, as fullbacks, they do have defensive frailties, but they are brilliant going forward. And actually, in a system like this, you could really see the best of them going forward, because they're so rapid, and always they like to get forward, they've got assists, and they can defend as well. So I think this is going to be such an interesting situation for Tottenham, and I think this system really suits those two players.
Yeah.
Sharky, you nervous about that?
What
back
about
five?
this man? Didn't he play like a wing back
At Wolves.
Matt Doherty holding up.
That was money well spent.
Yeah.
Matt Doherty, wasn't it?
Wasn't he playing?
He does.
Further up and getting involved
Yeah, we can leave that on the table though.
But so I don't know. I've not seen much of him at Spurs. I don't know. You guys are Spurs fans, isn't he?
Yeah.
Delivering how he was. I mean, he was getting involved in the goals and all that stuff at Wolves.
But Nuno didn't even want to use.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was worrying about.
Is it an easy one for you? Is Royale? It's a fair.
They're trying to be diplomatic.
It's a totally fair question.
Explain the reason.
My reasoning behind Matt Doherty, I mean, any Spurs fan will tell you he hasn't been at all good since he came. And I think the one thing to go off is the reaction when he left Wolves. I don't think they were too sad to see him go, so that kind of told you.
Sharky, you nervous about this back five? If you were coming up against this back five as Arsenal's front three, what are you saying?
I would not be nervous. We're talking about January 23rd, right? I can't wait. But to be fair, transfer window, you might have signed someone by then, a centre back by then.
We were saying how I'm gutted the North London derby's been moved to my birthday.
Yeah. What does that mean? Go on, tell us your predicament there.
My predicament there, I hate Derby Day. I hate it.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I don't enjoy anything about it. I don't enjoy having the nerves. I don't enjoy usually losing. I don't enjoy it at all.
Yeah, I mean, if the derby landed on my birthday, I'd be happy. So it shows the difference between our clubs right now.
I know you've won recently. Don't go ahead of us.
Oh, here we go. It's getting nice.
Move on to the midfielders. Because this is the good debate, I think. The centre mid's the best debate.
I'm intrigued to know who you've gone with.
Right. Yeah. I just was going to say on Emerson.
Go on.
Again, I don't think he's been fantastic since he's come in. I think he's been okay. But I think you're right in the sense that both because they're so rapid, they've got so much pace, they're going to play such a big point, in that system, getting crosses into the box, where I expect to see Harry Kane more now as well, not, digging around in midfield. And I think that they're going to be a big addition to obviously that attacking threat. And I think that defensively, because Conte is so good as a defensive coach, whatever defensive abilities they have, I think we're going to see them massively strengthened.
Yep.
So that's that on that.
Okay, we've got to move on to the midfields because lots of players to get into and there's a lot of talking points here. Midfield 2, who have you gone with?
I had a really difficult time with this because I said to you before, I really
conservative. You've gone in.
I've gone very defensive.
Nervous. This is very Spursy. I think.
I'll give you my reasoning why.
Yeah, no,
that's an obvious one.
I have to say I'm regretting my decisions a little bit.
And Ollie Skip.
I think that's quite defensive.
It is.
I really think that's
both
very
featured
defensive.
a lot for Tottenham this season.
When you've got a back three as well, Sharky, I don't know what you think. A back three and two quite holding midfielders.
Yeah, it's like playing McTominay and Fred in front of a back three.
I know, it's not the most progressive, especially when you've got on the bench here, you've got Tanguy and Ndombele, who was signed as your record signing for £50 million, let's not forget. One of your highest earners at the club, not in there. Lo Celso, again, huge fee. One of your highest, but not
Let's talk about Tanguy then,
What's
because
going
obviously
on?
he is Spurs' record signing, spent a lot of money for him. It's amazing actually hearing his teammates talk about how good he's in training. I remember doing an interview with Gareth Bale last season, says he reminds me of Ronaldinho in training. He's so good actually in training, in terms of ball on the feet, not in terms of the level that he's playing at. But he is quite...
Can we get a quick opinion on Ronaldinho versus Tanguy?
I mean, that's it. I'm still thinking about it now.
Technically, rather than looking at play.
Thank God, if it was a race, he wouldn't win.
But he is technically amazing. But he does have games where you don't hear from him.
Look,
and is pressing an issue in this team with
ball
Ndombele?
at feet, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player, can pass through the lines like no one's there. Incredible vision. But for me, when I look at how Antonio Conte likes his players to work, he's not tracking back. That is not what you get with Tanguy and Ndombele.
Antonio Conte, though, at Inter was linked with Tanguy Ndombele, so he's a player that he likes.
Yeah, but also you only get 60 minutes out of him. And from what I think he's a fantastic player. I want him in there. And that's why I really struggled with doing this formation, because I was like, OK, you're going to have someone defensive. If I could take out Højbjerg, I would, because I really, really like Oliver Skip.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not I feel Oliver Skip is up to the job yet to do it on his own.
On his own.
Yeah. Obviously, we saw it in Norwich and he was great, but Championship level, the gulf in between Championship Premier League is very big.
So you've bottled it and put Skip in?
I bottled it, basically. Yeah. I've got my hands up.
I know about that one.
I want him in there, but I just don't know whether or not that at the moment I'm seeing enough from him to warrant Conte picking him.
OK, so let's see front three then, because at the moment it's really conservative, I think.
Lo Celso's another one. Again, I think he's a great player. I think there's a great player in there. But again, I've seen nothing to warrant it. In the Conference League where he's spent most of his time of late, and also last week against United, I didn't feel he was particularly good.
Front three, I think two of these pick themselves. The third one's interested.
Right.
I mean, Kane and Son are nailed in for anyone's 11, aren't they?
Definitely. Mora. OK. So gone for the same front three started against Vitesse.
Mora?
So that is, just to confirm, that is the same team that Antonio Conte went with against Vitesse, other than, I think, Davinson Sanchez didn't start. He started with Ben Davies. So it's similar thinking Conte's gone with. So just talk about the front three.
OK, so for me, Lucas Moura, his pass conversion rate actually might not be that great, but love the passion he brings. He's a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah.
He'll always be up for a fight, and I love that about him.
Always says, "Come on, you Spurs," on the Instagram account after Spurs win.
I mean,
Spurs fans love
this is not Spurs TV. This is not Spurs TV.
But for what he lacks in goals, necessarily for Spurs, he makes up with. He does not stop running, that guy. He literally, he's one of the people that never stops. Working hard for that team.
No, I mean, Lucas Moura is actually one of my favourite footballers I've ever worked with. So I have that thing of I like him as a person as well.
Lovely guy, isn't he?
No, great guy.
So you start him because he's your
great
mate.
guy. He's not my mate. I wish he was my mate. But I'm looking at the other options. I mean, Bergwijn.
I think Brian Hill started the season quite well. I know that he's not getting many minutes, but when he plays, another player that Spurs have invested in and isn't getting minutes, like Tanguy and Ndombele, invested in heavily, not getting minutes. The Celso heavily invested in, not getting minutes. Doherty paid money for, not getting minutes. Rodon, all of these players here over the last couple of summers have been big money signings, and it's a similar sort of side that.
Also, Dele Alli, no Dele Alli for years. I want to talk to you about Dele Alli because obviously he burst onto the scene, didn't he? His numbers in his first few seasons were incredible. More goals before the age of 21 than Lampard, Gerrard and Beckham combined, I think it was. I mean, incredible numbers, and it's not really happening for him. What do you think's happening with Dele, and do you think he has a future at Spurs, or do you think he will look to move elsewhere?
I think he should be looking to move elsewhere. I think that we've been really patient with Dele. I think we can't obviously take away what we said. The start he had under us for those kind of 2.5 seasons was incredible. But for me, we've had four managers now since Pochettino. None of them can really get the best out of Dele. I think that they all start and he's he can't get out the side for the first 5 games. Yeah, I would sell him. I think that he has to for himself also go to another club to try and reinvigorate his career, because I just don't think it will happen at Spurs.
Okay, so that's your 11. Now we've asked you to pick 3 signings. We're going to do this all in one go.
Okay.
Who are the 3 players that you would bring in to take
And
Tottenham?
who would you replace? So stick him over the top.
Yeah.
We've only got about a minute and a half on this, so we have to fly through.
This is going to be really harsh because out of the 2 of them, I could really stick it on either of them. But I think I picked Dyer before.
And that is Milan Skriniar to come in. Spurs were linked with him in the summer. He's played with Conte before at Inter Milan, of course.
Yes.
So that's the one. Next one.
I've gone with if he's not on the floor. I've gone with Bissouma.
Good player.
Over Højbjerg, that's a big call.
I have faith in Skip, one of them.
Wow.
So you play them as the 2 Skip and okay.
And Vlahovic.
And Vlahovic is the other one. Again, he is absolutely ripping up Serie A, best young player last season.
You nearly put him over Kane there.
This is whether or not Kane's
10 goals in 12 games.
Wow.
No, I'm going to put him over Lucas.
And let's not forget, Tottenham fans were booing Harry Kane at the weekend just 5 days ago, so it could have just been slotted over the top there.
Yeah, I'm putting him over Lucas because I'm hoping that if he came in, it's to play alongside him. I think he's got 21 goals in 37 games or something silly.
21 in 37, 3 assists last season. He had 10 goals in 12 games in all comps. Fiorentina this season, 6 in 12.
Sharky, you scared of that team?
No. To be fair, I wanted Bissouma at Arsenal anyway, so I like him. He's a good player.
Good player.
I think you're linked with Vlahovic as well.
Yeah, so that means he'll probably come to us like Tomiyasu.
So thoughts on that, Sharky? As an Arsenal fan, are you worried about this? This is Abbi's way that we can succeed.
Does that win a trophy? Is the question. Does that win a trophy?
It's a good team. It's a good team, but no, I think maybe Ndombele maybe here.
Does it win a trophy for you?
Better win backs.
Does Conte win a trophy with that team?
A cup, yes. I think he'll win a cup, generally.